U.S. military strikes in Venezuela mark a major escalation. January 3, 2026, Caracas, Venezuela. Early Saturday morning, the United States military carried out a series of strikes inside Venezuela, including attacks on key military bases and infrastructure, in what the U.S. government characterized as a decisive action against Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his inner circle. Explosions rocked Caracas and other regions as low-flying aircraft were seen over the capital. According to U.S. officials cited by CBS News, President Donald Trump authorized large-scale strikes on Venezuelan soil targeting locations such as Fuerte Tiuna and La Carlota, major military installations in and near Caracas, as well as signal antennae and other strategic sites. In a post on his social media platform, Trump proclaimed that Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores were captured and flown out of the country during the operation, a historic development indicating that the U.S. elite Delta Force may have been involved in extracting the Venezuelan leader. The strikes follow months of mounting U.S. pressure on Venezuela, which Washington has long accused of supporting drug trafficking and corrupt governance. Throughout 2025, the U.S. escalated military presence in the Caribbean with aircraft carriers, warships, and special operations forces amid repeated warnings from Trump that land strikes could follow earlier maritime actions. Prior to this weekend's reported raids, the U.S. had seized Venezuelan oil tankers, struck alleged drug smuggling vessels at sea, and carried out covert actions against suspected narcotics infrastructure, all part of what the administration called Operation Southern Spear. The Venezuelan government vehemently denounced the attacks as military aggression and a violation of sovereignty, declaring a national state of emergency. President Maduro's officials and the country's vice president demanded immediate proof of life for the leader and called for international condemnation. International responses have been swift and varied. Regional governments expressed alarm. Colombia's president described the strikes as military aggression. Cuba condemned the U.S. action, labeling it a criminal attack against Venezuela. European Union officials stressed respect for international law and urged restraint. Russia and Iran publicly criticized the U.S. strikes as a breach of Venezuelan sovereignty. Amid the chaos, Venezuelan civilians reported panic, power outages, and chaos in the streets of Caracas as blasts were heard and residents sought safety. Despite the intensity of the strikes, Venezuela's critical oil infrastructure remained largely intact, according to industry sources, even as nearby commercial ports suffered damage. The reported capture of Maduro, a once controversial figure accused by the U.S. of narco-terrorism and ruling through electoral manipulation, signifies a stark escalation not seen between the two nations in decades. It recalls past U.S. interventions in the region, though the legal and diplomatic ramifications remain complex and fluid. International legal experts and geopolitical analysts warn that such military action without clear UN authorization could deepen regional instability and spark broader diplomatic fallout. What's next? As this story continues to develop, the U.S. may move to prosecute Maduro and his wife on drug-related and terrorism charges in American courts, according to senior U.S. officials. International bodies could be called to address the crisis, including potentially the United Nations Security Council. Venezuela's internal power structures and military loyalty will be key in determining whether resistance or cooperation follows. For now, the early hours of January 3rd have redefined U.S. Venezuela relations and thrust global attention onto the region with uncertain consequences for peace, sovereignty, and regional stability.